Yo, what is up, my Cinedroids? G to the S here. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the third installment of the 5-part movie franchise, Ice Age: Dawn of the Dinosaurs. Let's see how this one holds up. After Sid pilfers some dinosaur eggs, Manny, Diego, and the rest of their prehistoric pals enter a mysterious underground world to rescue the hapless sloth. During the course of their mission, the gang encounters many creatures, great and small, including hungry carnivores and a relentless dinosaur-hunting weasel named Buck, played surprisingly by Benji Dunn from the Mission Impossible movies, as well as Unkar Plutt from Star Wars The Force Awakens. Simon Pegg, although this movie came out first. Now, true story, I remember seeing this movie in theaters before back in the day, but it was for a special event for kids, which, funny enough, I was still a young kid when this movie came out, so it makes sense that it would be the right demographic for it. But now, rewatching it again on DVD from the library just recently, don't attack me in the comments, but I just don't seem to enjoy it as much as I did a decade ago. In my personal opinion, it just wasn't as funny as the first two. The second one I thought was the best. If you guys remember on my review of that movie, except for the vultures breaking out into a weird song number in the middle of it, the scene with the sloths worshipping Sid as a god and breaking out into a catchy dance number, that was enjoyable. All the other jokes hit bullseye. It had a better story, and the characters were very enjoyable and interactive to watch. It was an overall enjoyable experience from beginning to end. This sequel, on the other hand, not as funny as the second movie. Mostly the first sequel. Hands down, don't get me wrong. But let's list some of the elements that did not fit in this movie before I get into the positives. First off, the comedic timings were kind of forgettable and did not make me laugh, to be 100% honest with you guys. I mean, I know people said that Buck was the best part of the entire movie, but for me, I don't know, he seems a bit uninteresting. I mean, I get the fact that he's supposed to be wacky and more of a goofball, that's his character, but for me, my biggest question is, why is he like that? Even the reason behind it was way out the window for me. His backstory of why he is relentlessly what he is didn't grab my attention. It just seems a bit forced and kind of tiresome. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you guys think Buck was hilarious in this movie, then kudos to you. I'm glad you like him and see him as a funny weasel. Simon Pegg, I'll admit, did a great job portraying that character. But for me, all the other jokes in this movie, yes, there are a few pop culture references in this movie, but they were way out of left field for me. Like, for example, there was a Flintstones reference, and that was out of nowhere. I mean, it does fit the atmosphere and tone of the scene that it was based on, I'll admit, but I just find it a little bit weird. There was a Jurassic Park reference in this movie. I mean, I don't mind that bit. I actually thought that was enjoyable to watch now that I thought about it, because it would make sense when you are near a dinosaur, just like in Jurassic Park. If you move even 1 ounce of muscle near a T-Rex, yeah, good luck getting out of that situation. T-Rex human cereal, part of this complete breakfast. So yeah, besides that scene that I just mentioned, getting into the character development now, Sid's comedy relief wasn't that enjoyable. Even the scenes with both Crash and Eddie was very cringeworthy. Especially them making a reference to Alvin and the Chipmunks, that was also really weird. But getting back onto Sid's characteristics in this movie, he didn't stand out as much than in Ice Age: The Meltdown. He's a little too dumb to take things seriously. All he does is go on crazy shenanigans throughout this whole film. Even both Crash and Eddie didn't entertain me that much. Now granted, they didn't get as much screen time than they did in the last film. In Ice Age: The Meltdown, those two characters have a lot of their own scenes in it. They provide the best jokes, they were very comic relief, but in a good way, and they have a personality to them that makes them hilarious characters. But in this movie, all they do is provide jokes that they were not originally funny as they were in the last film. I bet that once I watch the fourth movie, Continental Drift, they're gonna provide the same situation from this film, except much worse. But we'll see. Stay tuned for my review of that once I have the time. But yeah, final verdict is that the characters were not as developed as I originally hoped. Let's move on. Now the positives. The story in this movie, I don't mind it as much. I mean, it is the same story done numerous times in movie history. Sid gets captured by the dinosaurs and it's up to his friends to get him back. That's it. Same familiar beats, but it's not a bad story either. It's serviceable enough to keep the kids entertained, and that's not a problem at all. But there are better movies out there that have a much complex story than this one. Even the voice acting direction from Carlos Saldana wasn't that bad either. The actors replaced which role they were born to play, and they did it really well. So props to both Fox and Blue Sky on that. But the most entertaining thing about this movie was the animation and the movie's use of epic cinematography and swooping camera shots when it comes to the flying scenes. They almost look like something out of How to Train Your Dragon a little bit, don't you think? Although that movie was made a year after this movie, which was awesome. You can check out that review if you want. But yeah, overall guys, besides those 4 good things, it still doesn't change the fact that Ice Age Dawn of the Dinosaurs was just an okay film. The jokes fell flat, the characters were not that enjoyable, and the out of nowhere references in this movie were kind of forgettable, to be completely honest with you. I'm sure Continental Drift is gonna fall into that same trap, but we'll see. But in the meantime, I rate Dawn of the Dinosaurs 3 out of 5 stars. It's fine for your kids, but I would rather watch either Up or Monsters vs. Aliens instead. That's my personal 2 cents on this movie. So Ice Age, Dawn of the Dinosaurs. Have you seen it? If you have, let me know in the comments what you thought about it. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Answers down below, please. Also, if you like this video and you want to see some more, make sure that like button shines in your face. That'll totally help me out a ton. Also, share that video with your family and friends and favorite it. That's a very good way to show support for this review. Also, if you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe and ring that bell right next to you so you can be notified of future videos that I have in store for you. Also, if you want to shout out in a future video, just follow me on both Instagram and Twitter, and I will choose one of my Cinedroids to be displayed as a shout out. The link's in the description below. And also follow me on Stardust so you can catch early reactions of movies, TV show episodes, and trailers. I'll put a link to that below in the description as well so you can download the app for yourselves. But until then, I'll see you next time. Peace out.